look at the steps for savings, we want to look at a couple different things. The first off we want to start is with a budget, and you want to follow that budget. You want to be building in expenses that you need to pay for, and then you want to look at saving some additional money, whether that's in a retirement plan and or in an emergency fund. Then you want to periodically review your plan, whether that is with an advisor, and then just do a routine check just to make sure expenses haven't gone up and anything hasn't changed. You also want to automate your savings, and by doing that you are automatically taking money out of your paycheck and or checking and savings and moving that to an additional account, kind of out of sight, out of mind, and allows it to accumulate over time, whether that's an emergency fund and or a retirement account. So whenever you're putting money aside, you want to make sure that is going to an emergency fund. We've all been there. You have your ups and downs. You may have to buy a new vehicle. You may have to repair a vehicle, roof repairs, different things like that you don't want to be taking out a loan for a minor purchase. Instead, you would have money set aside. Getting help from an expert is very important. This will allow you to have some ideas that you may not have thought of. They deal with this stuff every single day and can give you some creative thoughts that can help you plan for the future. Check on your progress regularly. This will allow you to understand if you are doing the right things, and will allow you to understand, am I working towards my goals, or do I need to make some tweaks to that? Deciding to retire is one of the hardest things whenever we work with our clients. There's a lot of different factors that go into this. What I always tell people, don't make an impulse decision. You want to be looking at the long time horizon that is retirement, but also preparing for that years and years in advance. Working with an advisor, putting a plan together, and establishing, have I saved enough? What's my retirement going to look like? What type of additional expenses are going to be accrued during retirement? Are there going to be any expenses that go away? A lot of different factors that go into that. We look at financial plans, and it's going to give us the probability of success, and just understanding, am I comfortable with what the formula is saying and what the probability is going to say going into retirement. Other investments that you can take on aside from a 401k is you could set up an IRA. That can be a traditional and or a Roth IRA. You could also set up an agency account or a transfer on death account. And these allow you to save money in a few different ways. A lot of the differences would be how they are taxed, whether they're taxed now, in the future, or whenever you take out capital gains. So it all just depends on what your goals are, how you want that money to be used. Is it truly a retirement vehicle, or is it something that's set up that I want to save some money maybe for a purchase down the road, but I want to maybe potentially accumulate more than what a savings account would. A Roth IRA is with money that's already been taxed. So this money accumulates over time at a tax-free basis, and then whenever it's taken out, it's also taken out tax-free. This usually has to be at 59 and a half years old. So a traditional IRA is with pre-tax money. This is money that hasn't been taxed. So it does grow tax deferred, but you do have to pay taxes on that money whenever you take it out, and that's the principal and the interest that it accrues over time. A simple IRA is one that is done through an employer-sponsored plan. Now, what they do is they can contribute amount, you can also contribute amount, and then it grows over time. So the 4% rule is a rule of thumb that has been around for a long time, and it says you can take 4% of your investments off the accounts each year. We typically hold true to that number. We try not to get too much above or beyond that number. Obviously, there's circumstances where you have to get a little higher, and depending on market performance, we may say, hey, can we taper that back down a little bit? But we tend to follow that 4% rule every single year. Now, when it comes to qualified accounts, whenever you get into retirement, those numbers start out, you have a required distribution that you have to take, and a lot of times that requirement is going to get much higher than the 4% rule of thumb that's already kind of been established. So if you're deciding how much you want to take out, it's probably best that you talk to a financial advisor. That's something that we will be able to help you with and assist you. That all comes back to that financial plan that we put together for you that says, is the 4% number accurate, or should we take a little more or less depending on your situation? I am David Oliver, and we are Minster Bank.